Hello, this is Coaster Crew 1, and today I will be ranking all the coasters at Carowinds. Carowinds has a great coaster collection, it's very underrated. Their top 3 is great and amazing, worth the trip out there, and all their top 3 was in my top 10 till a few days ago when it got bumped out, Afterburn got bumped to 11. But yeah, I just went here 2 or 3 weeks ago and stayed for 2 days and got a pretty good feel for the park. And the rest of their coaster collection is very underrated. But yeah. So at 13 we have Wilderness Run. Now this coaster beat my expectations, and it's pretty much my favorite kiddie coaster. And I was back row, but I got airtime on the last 3 airtime hills. At 12 we have Kitty Hawk, and this blew my expectations too. I was expecting a really bad ride, but what I got was actually a pretty fun family ride. I got one headbang at the last turn into the brake run, but besides that it was pretty fun. And for kids, this would be extra fun because you can't get head banging because your head's so low and the restraints are so high. Pretty fun, but I couldn't enjoy as much because I was focusing on trying not to get head banging and keeping my head forward. At 11, we have Ricochet, my favorite wild mouse. And the turns are so gentle and nice and peaceful on this. And you actually get some airtime on it. Just my favorite part of those switchbacks. It's so fun and so smooth transitions. But that's coming from a person who only has ridden Wild Lightning at Lake Winnie as their other wild mouse, and that is pretty bad. But yeah, and I like the restraints on this. Just such a fun ride. It's underrated too. Very fun. At number 10 we have Carolina Gold Rusher, my favorite mine coaster now. Well, that's discluding mine coaster at Happy Valley Shanghai, but that's not a classic aero mine train. This is a classic aero mine train. It's my favorite of the 2 I've ridden now. The other one being Dahlonega Mine Train at Six Flags Over Georgia. This is just a very fun ride, and it's very peaceful. And my favorite part is probably the helix. It's also the helix in the tunnel. It's also a very long ride with 2 chain lifts too, so pretty fun. Great for families. Number 9, we have Woodstock Express. Wow, this just really blew me away. I rode back row and had buzz bars, and you got good airtime on the drops, reminiscent of Rampage, those drops with airtime. Kind of reminds me of Georgia Cyclone mixed with the Cannonball at Lake Winnie. Also very smooth, surprisingly. Number 8, we have Carolina Cyclone. It used to be my favorite aero coaster till I rode Tennessee Tornado again and got a great ride on it. But yeah, this is very fun. The helix is very fun. Corkscrews are fun. Loops are pretty forceful and fun. Just all around, just such a fun ride. Second to last row though, the last car first row of it. It's extra good there. Number 7 we have Hurler, and this actually beat my expectations. Didn't really beat them, but it met my expectations. Got some good airtime, and the first half is definitely better than the second. It's the part that they retracted much smoother than the second half. Second half is pretty rough, but in that pretty fun ride. I feel like people put it a little high, but it's because some people just don't like the other rides here. There are 4 down. But yeah. Number 6, we have Vortex. And you may think this is a strange placement for it, a little high. But I really like stand-up coasters, if you know me. And yeah. I rode it back row the first time, and I was a little disappointed actually, because I was expecting more out of this. I got head banging, especially on the last corkscrew. And it just didn't have as good as I thought it would be. But then when I rode front, I had to ride it twice because it was so good. Got airtime and everything. The corkscrew is still my least favorite part because it's hard not to get head banging. I didn't get it on the front, but every other row I think you would get it. I did get it in the back. Just a fun ride. Number 5, we have Nighthawk, and I went in having terrible expectations, thinking this was going to be my least favorite, second least favorite, super rough. I was literally terrified of how rough it'd be. But actually, I rode third row, and it actually beat what I thought it would be. It was really fun. It was pretty smooth. It was kind of shaky. It was a little jerky and stuff where the welds were. But other than that, it was really fun. Even the corkscrews were fun. You didn't really figure out where you were. I thought the corkscrews on the other side of the ride when I was off-ride viewing it. just a very fun ride. The loop is the best part, very fun. And that first turn right there, the overbank turn, is really fun too. And just going off the chain lift, detaching, it was fun because you went down backwards. So yeah, very fun ride. But then I rode back row, and it was not bad, but I mean, it was shakier. I could feel the shakiness. Didn't change my rankings, but yeah, it was shakier. I noticed, like, it adds shakiness to that little roughness. Not bad, but still fun. Then I rode front, and that definitely helped. It was very good. Got a good feel for this ride. Next up, we have Flying Cobras. This is like a really fun ride. I mean, this is probably the best boomerang in the U.S., but besides that, I mean, that doesn't mean it's a bad ride. This was the only boomerang I've ridden, and I just loved it. The backwards loop was my favorite part. Really fun, and the backwards cobra roller was really fun. The backwards part was no doubt the best part. But it was also cool going up the chain lift backwards, and then going forwards through the course, because on the backwards chain lift, the first chain lift going out of station, you could like have a great view of everything, especially left side. I definitely recommend this. Now number 3, we have Afterburn, and my favorite invert. The only one I've ridden besides this was Batman the Ride at Six Flags Over Georgia, but I mean, this is really good, really intense, probably the most intense coaster I've ridden, and just such a great ride. The loop, all the inversions, the Batwing's my favorite part, and just stay forward. Actually, you only have to stay forward for the corkscrew, the last corkscrew, the 6th inversion, and you'll be fine. Everything else is like butter smooth. I was not expecting that. Number 2, we have Intimidator. This is really fun. You definitely a front row ride, because the drop is better than the front row drop, but everything else isn't. Everything else is just like, gives good airtime because of the trims and all this stuff. There's so many trims. You don't even get airtime on like after the mid-course brake run really as much as you would in the front. Like you get one airtime moment after the mid-course brake run, but besides that, nothing else. On the front, you get like 3. In number 1, we have Fury 325, and my favorite coaster. This is amazing. The drop, every part of this ride's amazing. My favorite part's probably the hive dive. You get great airtime on that, and the last airtime hills, just great flowjector, and the drop has great airtime. Such amazing ride, like every single element. The bank turns, and it's pretty intense too. Great G's. Every part of this ride is so fun. The only bad thing about this ride, I would say, is the trims and the brake run, because the trims slow you down. Of course, you don't really like that. And then the brake run, you stop, and you don't want this ride to be over. I recommend probably the front for maybe airtime, because the trims, you don't really feel it. And going to the brake run, you get some ejector. In the back, you just get floater going to the brake run. But other than that, I mean, the back's probably my favorite spot, though, still. Just an amazing ride in any row. Doesn't matter. Thank you for watching. Please come again and like and subscribe if you'd like to see more like this. Thank you. Bye.